Welcome to the Talking Shh podcast. That's right. We'll be talking about music, albums, live shows, bands we love, bands not so much. Again, we're talking shh. Join me, Scott Nokon, and Stephen James.
And welcome back. This is episode 26 as we continue.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really. Our conversation on Van Halen. So if you joined us, and we didn't have a lot of fanfare, and let me actually get the background set. There we go.
Hey.
There we are. Now we're brought together. Now, I guess we didn't do a lot of fanfare, right, for episode 25, other than congratulations, Stephen, for sticking with me for 25. But we're now on to 26.
Well, I can't wait till it's 225.
Yeah. We're just going to keep plugging away.
We might be talking about ABBA by then.
We know what? We probably will. We'll wait till we get to that point, but we'll talk about it. But as mentioned, with episode 26, we are continuing our conversation about Van Halen. So at this point, we are at album number 6, 1984. End of an era, for sure, right? But I remember this record vividly. This was my 8th grade, and I remember when the video came out for Jump, the first thing you saw was Eddie's fingers, and it's the keyboard, and it's like, oh my God, what's going on? Why is there a keyboard? This is a rock band, not a metal band, a rock band, right? I think we qualified that.
For sure.
But, Eddie's always been wanting to experiment and use different instruments, and always really fond of keyboards, and he probably wanted to push even more out there.
I would think so.
And so that probably created some tension within the group, and at that point, a lot of this has all been well documented. They made it through this tour, probably barely, and then there was already conversation at that point that David Lee Roth was going to move on. If anything, he wanted to do his own solo record anyway, which, early on, he had a really successful solo tour. Good Records had a fantastic band put together with Steve Vai and Greg Bissonette and bass player, drawing a blank.
Billy Sheehan.
Thank you. So yeah, it's, those, I liked what he put out. It was good. And talking, if it's the end of the era for Van Halen, this was a blockbuster for sure record. 10 million plus, probably north of 15 now.
That's
probably
insane.
20 in the world. So, it matched the US sales of their first record, which is pretty incredible. You kind of bookend. You got, Diamond, which is, as you guys, many of you know, if you sell 10 million plus, which Stephen and I, if we put out 10 million records, no, if we put out 9,950,000, we would probably get to individual records, this is a stupid story, so allow me to finish. We'd probably get to 10 million sales, right? And
how much money would that make? 50 cents on a dollar?
Yeah, 50 cents. If that. But anyway, I'll stick to the script, which we don't have a script. This is why we kind of ramble and talk
We are unscripted.
At times. But anyway, pretty damn impressive. 78
Absolutely.
Van Halen, 10 million plus, 84 blockbuster tour, 10 million records there. This tour, again, massive around the globe, big elaborate stage setups. Again, you saw which was in a soundstage, the original Jump video, or the initial Jump video. But then when you got into Panama, you could really see what the stage set was, right? And David Lee Roth kind of just flying across the stage. Pretty awesome stuff. And again, did not see them at all during the Roth era. Maybe if I was a couple years older, it would have just fallen right into it. But it didn't. And, I would say you could go back and watch video. But sometimes when you're watching video and you hear David Lee Roth live, you really don't want to watch it because he wasn't really the best live singer, really. But in this record, again, the songs we talked about, Panama, Jump,
And Hot for Teacher.
so good, so good. And even this, so little fun fact, I think this part. So who wrote, and because here it was, there was discussion, which is kind of ironic, that with Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher, And was it that they really needed a single, which those three satisfied? That for
Absolutely.
sure. But were they missing one more song? And could they bring in someone to help write a song with them? And that one song is All Wait. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We said at the same time.
And it was Michael McDonald, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Let me pull that up real quick. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, Michael McDonald.
Yeah, you're quicker.
And produced by Ted Templeman.
Yeah. So see, he's awesome. Like he's, you know,
how do you mesh Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers to Van Halen? I mean, so cool. And a great song that is forgotten.
It is, yeah. And again, it is a great song. I agree. And listening to it, and it was kind of just a different vibe. But this, I was trying to find a quick story on it. I can't do it. I don't know what's wrong with me.
You haven't finished your espresso.
So yeah, 40 years ago, Michael McDonald co-writes Van Halen's All Wait. And, you know, this was like a major heyday of the Doobie Brothers too, you know, and then going into a solo career in the early 80s by that time. Called into service during the sessions for Van Halen's 1984 album. When the group got stuck on All Wait, a track that ended up going to number 13 after its April 1984 release as the record's second single. See, I kind of forgot it was the second single.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Ted Templeman worked extensively with McDonald during his tenure with Doobie Brothers, and the duo continued their working relationship after the band splintered. So clearly they were buddies, right? He had heard, so here's the story. He had heard Van Halen needed help finishing All Wait. He knew who to call. This is Ted Templeman, and he called Michael McDonald and said, hey, these guys have a track and they need some lyrics. So I mentioned you could do it, and he said, fine. So why don't you come down? Send me the track. I got some ideas, and so I'd have something when I got to the studio. Although he swears the experience wasn't exciting. Come on, being able to be in the studio with Van Halen. But again, you know, Doobie Brothers at one point were probably the biggest band in the world. So he's
back
achieved
in the 70s
this.
for
Yeah,
sure.
he achieved this level of, you know, been there, done that. Yeah, I'll be with you. So maybe he wasn't really affected.
And the Doobie Brothers were different one-offs from like Van Halen. They had different members kind of in and out. Because Michael McDonald wasn't always in that band. So when you hear early Doobie Brothers and then you hear Michael McDonald, it's got a complete different flair to it. So
here's the funny story. Yeah, and there was a video, and was it a 1984 kind of overview? There's a lot of stuff on Amazon that's kind of cool little documentaries, or it could have been a Ted Templeman one, but you probably can find clips on YouTube. But there was, you know, the songwriting credits were in flux for a number of years. And so Michael McDonald is saying on some versions he sees his name on the album, and others he doesn't. When it was remastered years later, his name was again listed as a co-writer, but then disappeared in other versions. So he goes and he wrote, I guess they thought it was Santa Claus because I had to go chasing them a little bit on that one. He goes, it's probably one of the most played things I've ever written, just because it's Van Halen. The album sold 3 or 4 millions, like right out the gate, which was a really big deal at the time. And so, yeah, it was one of those things where it was probably one of the most unlikely marriages, you know, but here it is. Templeman knew him. He goes, listen, you're, you know, a fantastic songwriter and lyricist. They were stuck on it and brought him in. So, yeah.
And just real quick, Michael McDonald has an amazing voice. For those, you know, are like, who's Michael McDonald? Real bluesy. When you hear him talk and you hear him sing, you're like, what's going on there? And only because I'm probably more of a product of the 70s and Doobie Brothers, the guy can write beautiful music. He sings beautifully. And when you hear Michael McDonald sing and you think of Van Halen, you think, what? It's definitely a different
100%.
Different aspect of ratio, but hey, you know.
Yeah, and now in his older years, and I don't know how old he is exactly, but he almost looks like Steven Spielberg now. Or no, George Lucas, sorry. Yeah.
He does look like George Lucas.
Yeah.
Very fun, very good, very funny.
Yeah. Wait a second. Have they ever been in the same room together?
They may not have been.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. So
I
that was
love when our conversations go.
So anyway, here. Okay. So
out to space.
Let's just bring it back. So, but we're sticking with the Van Halen theme. So if we kind of riff a little bit and wander, that's just, I think, our just combined personalities and kind of wanting to go kind of deep into some facts. We're going to get deep here, right? If we can, if we shall. And again, why did I not know you were going to say that?
Because I have the soul of a 12-year-old.
Yeah. So, in that, I'm just moving on.
Of course, Michael McDonald again, a great accompaniment. Which there's two versions of Doobie Brothers. And again, I know of both of those from growing up. My parents were hippies and played all this music for me when I was a kid. And so I know about it. Not that I'm like, oh yeah, but when you hear it when I hear it on the radio, or I've got it on my playlist, and every once in a while it's like you're driving, you're like, I want to hear some Doobie Brothers. It's like, it's great driving music, you think about that. And then you can instantly turn on Van Halen and go, that's even better driving music. And to think that there's a crossroads there between the two is just brilliant. I mean, just absolutely brilliant.
It really is, yeah. So for some reason I lost half my screen here. So I'm back.
Thank God.
So moving forward. So yeah, in that, so that was the end of the era, and this is kind of where I wanted to pick up. So it went from Hagar it went from David Lee Roth and him wanting to go off and do solo records. And I want to say, and we can look this up, and I'm not just making this up, but sometimes we just talk. I don't know if there was and maybe it was an unwritten rule. Wow, unwritten rule, or they talked about it where no one would go off and do like solo records. Eddie played on Beat It, right? But he didn't want credit. He got credit clearly, but he didn't even get paid for it. He goes, I know. He goes, I just did it. And everybody thought he was just crazy for doing it, but it was him just wanting to play, right? Just wanting to be part of it. And one of the cool stories, just a little snippet on that, he was listening to it, and then he made Michael Jackson, was, and I mean this in a good way, a control freak about everything that he did, which just shows to his level of professionalism and what he was able to contribute. But supposedly he went out of the studio and Eddie got with the producer and they reworked some of the song because he's like, that part doesn't really work. What if we did this? And it wasn't to be, devious or anything. It was more a matter of, hey, can I help improve that? And when Michael came back in, I think he came back in with Bubbles. He walks in and they kind of relayed to him, hey, we made some changes. You want to take a listen to it? And I won't do his voice, but he goes, oh, I love it. This is fantastic. So it was just, the love of music. So there you go. There's another just combination you wouldn't have thought of in a million years with Eddie Van Halen and Michael Jackson, but that's a killer track. One of the things we talked about, and we'll add these in on Spotify and maybe do some video combinations on YouTube as well. But as we go through each of our episodes, we haven't done this yet, but we'll work on it, is putting almost like a soundtrack together, because we talk about so many bands. And so then that way, to your choosing and your liking, you can listen to the audio, and then we'll always drop in links to say, now, if you want to go almost listen to the soundtrack for our episode, we'll have that. So again, that'll be something that we can roll out. There we go for continuing our little tangents. That was so fully on me. So jumping in now, right, to the Sammy Hagar era.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure at first. I
wasn't
remember
either.
at the time so his era started in 86. Just 10 years really of the initial Sammy Hagar era, but very impactful. I worked at Music Plus. We've talked about Music Plus before. Steven in Torrance and myself in Cyprus. Not too far from where you live. It was
22 miles or so.
Yeah. And where I worked was just around the corner from where you live now.
812? What was their first album?
1-2.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, 5150, sorry. 86, yeah. I didn't know what to expect. And probably when I was 16, I was just kind of a dumb kid. and go, oh, you know, Sammy
all done
Hagar,
it.
you know, who is he? And I knew You Can't Drive 55. And it's funny, that video was on, they actually were playing rock videos on MTV earlier. So they had some Sammy Hagar, then they went into Rick Springfield. So come on. So
Hey, I saw Rick Springfield live last year.
that's right. Yeah.
Still got it.
Yeah. Dr. Noah Drake from General Hospital.
Hey,
Come on. No, but he is still. So there's another combination, and I said that jokingly, but not entirely. When Sammy Hagar, this was during COVID, he did a show in Catalina, and the audience
on the beach.
He was on the beach,
They were on
and the
boats.
audience was on boats. Yeah,
That was so cool.
and that was with Victor on guitar, Jason Bonham. See, I thank you. You got my back. Jason on drums. He just turned 58, right? 58 the other day.
Underrated drummer.
He's incredible.
God.
And then he's still young. He started young when he was
honestly, and there's gonna people are gonna take the piss out of this. Jason Bonham does circles around his dad. So sorry for those. And Jason was good. I'm sorry, John was good in his time.
Yeah.
But Jason took what his dad taught him and went like this. So
yeah.
Anyhow, tangent off. Sorry.
So no, I'm doing it too. It's like as we drift on these shows, we kind of do that. So in that, and this kind
is
of
the talking ADH show.
It is. Yeah, I didn't think I had that, and there's nothing wrong with it, but
no,
I do. Maybe I'm just, I'm entertained by so many different things. So
I am a prodigy of that.
So my point myself wasn't able to make was I didn't know really what to think of the Sammy Hagar era and Hagar, all that stuff. And I think it was more fueled just by, social media wasn't around back then. God knows how it would have been. It would have been just even worse, probably. I listened to 5150 today. I'm going to listen to OU 812 tomorrow. And then for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, probably on the way home. I'll give Balance a spin. I maybe listen to Van Halen 3, the Gary Cherone era there. That's all we're talking about that. But Sammy's great. Seriously, Sammy's great. He's going to be here in a couple weeks playing Van Halen classic, playing Sammy classics. I think they do some Montrose tracks. Why not? Montrose, I wouldn't even say underrated. I think they're rated just fine. It's just been, 45 years since they put out anything. That's just, years gone by. But as far as Rock Candy and all that, that's some killer stuff. 86, first tour with Sammy, the records, and let's just kind of look at what they did as far as just record sales.
Once I saw it and heard it, I was in. I was like, what a great, and they took a complete different turn on the way the music was written and played.
Yeah. So here's something. No, please continue.
No, I just wanted to say it took a different turn as far as the Van Halen sound was with Roth, and it brought to me a whole new balance of they kind of rebirthed themselves.
Yeah, and Balance 1995 release. That was nice that you dropped that in there. I don't know if you did that purposely.
I did do that. Thank you.
Yeah, listening to with Sammy as vocalist, 4 consecutive number 1 albums. That's wild when he came out. Yeah, right? that was, they had yet to have a number 1 record at all, and Sammy did 4 in a row. 5150 in 86, OU 812 in 88, for Unlawful Carnal in 91, and then Balance in 91. Respectfully, 5150, 6 million plus, 4 million, 3 million, 3 million. If you look at the Hagar compared to the Roth catalogs, they've sold just about the same amount of records, I believe, which is pretty impressive. After 95, that's when Sammy left. I think like most things, you just kind of run out of steam, right? They had done so much that it kind of was just time to break off. 98, I remember the video when they had their third singer. I guess they were just still trying to find their way. Not find their way. They found their way. They were trying to find their way back. Extreme definitely what was not a massive band, but they had a couple massive hits more than
Terry
words.
Sharon's
sure.
a great singer. I just don't think that it works.
No, it did. I agree. And now, just a quick little throw to Extreme. They put a new record out last year. That's a great record.
Yeah.
So if you take a different kind of truth, ended up in 2012. That's with David Lee back and Wolfie on bass, right? So that was kind of a different. Yeah, and so that was fine. I think overall, as we look at it from a legacy standpoint, I think we'll end on this one. Is their overall impact on music is you can't challenge it. The songs, what they did, the imprint it has, just going back and listening to those songs. Every time a Van Halen song comes on, I was going to say the radio, but on like satellite, you just listen to it and you enjoy it. And again, it makes you happy. Their live performance, it's left a mark. And I think over and over again, challenge any other band, and this could be another conversation, to look at
for sure
their entire catalog. Where does it compare? So
yeah, I don't know that it does. Personally. Yeah.
So I would say that was our history of Van Halen. Please, if you guys have comments, leave them down below. Like and subscribe. Again, on Spotify, you're listening to this. Make sure you like it, you follow along. Again, you can catch us Mondays. New releases, you can always catch up on Spotify, so there's no timetable there, but new releases roll out Monday. Instagram, we're always posting content. You got the Reels on YouTube. You got videos and Reels. Subscribe to it. nrr.com. Sunday night, 7 Eastern. TikTok, we've been talking about it. It'll come out. I'll probably throw something together. Won't throw it together. We'll craftfully put it together when I'm on the road, Stephen. Yeah, we will not be on LinkedIn.
No,
but we have to say it. And you know what? We haven't, and we made a comment that we were going to say his name.
It's
every
a
episode.
tongue-in-cheek joke.
It is Udo. We haven't talked about Udo for a few episodes. But Udo is going on tour. They're doing a U.S. tour. Ruthless is opening up for him at the Whiskey in September.
Amazing?
Yeah. So, again, Udo still brings it. I got to see if he's coming through the South. I'm sure he is somewhere. I'd go see it. I think,
And we also say that if there's something you want us to talk about, please add in the comments. If there's any bands, anything, whatever. We're open to all music. One of the things that I wanted to bring up real quick before we end is that the 80s brought a lot of good stuff. They brought a lot of good movies and a lot of good music. And we could go on in the 80s for a long time. So whether it's the 70s, 80s, 90s, into the 2000s or future, hit us up. We're willing to talk about anything because we path for that.
We are. Stephen, I didn't ask you. I think you got your Tattoos Are Stupid shirt on again?
Well, the reason why is that...
Not again, because we've never worn it yet.
No, I haven't. No, it's not. It just says tattoos.
Okay.
The other tank tops, because it's so hot here, are in the wash. So this was the last.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I think, hygiene is important. Do you wash in cold or in warm? Do you dryer or hang dry?
Work clothes are hang dry.
Okay.
Everything else is. I mean, it could just be this. We could just see tattoos.
I wouldn't even. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
we could. Or yeah.
Anyhow.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And what's the hat? I think we got a couple more.
All right. So this is another good bunch of people that I follow on YouTube. These are true paranormal ghost hunters that don't fake a bunch of bullshit. They're called the Ouija Brothers. They're from England. They're fun. It's a great bunch of guys. I'm friends with them, even though I don't live there. So the Ouija Brothers, TOB on YouTube. I'm not Mark. I don't work for them, but they're a bunch of friendly people. So anyhow,
nice. That's Brothers. Cool. I know one Ouija thing. Brothers. Yeah. So Ouija Brothers. We'll mention you. You mention us. The other things I know, since we have filled this last little nook and cranny of time, definitely looking at probably introduce some sponsors coming up. So that's being worked on. If you're interested, please reach out to us. Again, we got a couple lined up. We'll start including that in some social media. and bringing it out more. And again, ultimately, all this is about clearly having fun, being able to talk different topics. Again, tonight and the previous episode 25 and now 26 was about Van Halen.
Absolutely.
Like Stephen said, share your comments. Let us know what you think. You said it wonderfully. I don't need to repeat all of it other than, again, Stephen, appreciate you. Thanks for making the time. We will be back next week. We'll be hitting up on episode 27 and beyond, and we're just getting started. Again, appreciate the support. We're going to keep going, and until next time, see ya. Later.
Thanks again for tuning in to the show. We'll be back every week with a brand new episode. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Talking Show, and also listen on Spotify or wherever you can stream a podcast. See ya.